Our passion didn't start with the mouth. It started with people, with the well-being of the profession, and if you're like me, maybe a little bit of your nerdiness in all things tech too. We all want to love what we do, but the truth is, burnout, people problems, and glass ceilings can keep us from doing what we set out to do. So let's get back to the heart of connection. Welcome to the Dental Handoff. This show is about passing you the knowledge, the habits, the systems, and the strategies to lead your teams, lean on the tech, and listen to your gut while you take care of teeth. And let's get honest, the overall health of our communities. Let's stop using the wrong end of the toothbrush, y'all. My name is Dr. Kelly Tanner. Oh, and uniquely, I'm a dental hygienist too. You can consider me a guru in the dental and leadership industry. With over 3 decades of experience, my goal is to take you to the next level by empowering growth, perspective, and confidence. By identifying the gaps, recognizing the plaque, and extracting the truth with other experts in the field. I'll share their stories, empower you to own yours, and elevate your passion in the process. So have a seat in the chair, put on your bib, and let's get to work. Welcome to the Dental Handoff. Dr. Kelly Tanner, RDH, here at ADA SmileCon. So excited to be here with my new friend, Dr. Bob Skinner, who is a newly retired dentist. And I want you to meet Bob, and he's going to tell us a lot about SmileCon, and then also too about his transition from out of practice and what that is all about. So Bob, thank you so much for joining us today. Yeah. So tell us about why dentistry for you. Why did you choose dentistry?
It's interesting. I love people, love working with my hands. I love the healing science. I thought about going to medical school, but I hated hospitals, so that kind of got rid of that little thought right there. And it just works for me. I've never worked a day in my life. I enjoy what I do. I really do, still do. 36 years. Yeah.
And then, so now you're on, you've been in leadership for a while with the ADA. We started, he's only missed 2 meetings. Is that what you said?
Yeah, no, get a life. I've missed 2 ADA meetings in 36 years. Wow. And stuff. So I've seen the great meetings, which most of them are. I've seen the meetings that probably needed a little help. We hit a home run here. Where is everybody? You need to be here. FOMO. Next year, Orlando is going to be awesome as well. So, but it's just my passion. I enjoy putting these on.
So what have you done to contribute to this year's SmileCon?
Many new things. We're trying to bring the wow back in our meetings. We always have the best speakers ever. And so they're here. They'll be here every year. Our Dental Central is a relatively new concept. It's our exhibit floor, if you remember. But we can get CE on the floor. We have a lot of dynamic things going on and a lot of experiential things we can bring to an attendee. I'm a visionary guy, so I said, let's step out of the box and see what we can bring. NASA has integrated big time in our meetings. So one of my first contacts, we have this podcast thing where we're doing podcasting live from SmileCon, and hopefully we can branch out to all of their listeners and let them, take our message forward. We have something that was kind of cool we came up with. It's called Dental Olympics, and Texas has 4 dental schools, and we want to create a kumbaya moment type thing. So we got 4 students from each dental school, and they're here doing kind of a fun little Olympic things. We have some events that they can compete. It's friendly competition. We'll crown a winner here before too long, and it's a trivia thing. I kind of got put in my place a little bit. I said, well, yeah, we can have them compete and maybe wax up a crown or something. And one of my committee members says, do they still wax teeth now? I said, oh, I don't know. I said, I better not put that in there. So we tried to let the students kind of design that a little bit. And so it's been real exciting. All the dental schools thought that was a great thing. And really, if you think about it, in Texas, they're really competitors because they want that best student going to their school. And so I said, I understand that. I really do. But let's have something where they can all get together and talk and compete and have fun. And, of course, an ulterior motive, then their students will come and cheer them on. Their families will come and cheer them on. The alumni will come and cheer their school. And that may help our attendance. So there's secondary little things of all of my thoughts as far as vision. We had a street fest last night that was over the top. We had well over 2,500 people, and we had a live band. We had food trucks. They closed the whole avenue in front of the convention center, and it would have probably still going on. Everyone had so much fun. I mean, I almost had to just shoo them all out. And we had fireworks at the end of it that was spectacular. So that was I said, let's get them out of this big building, this gorgeous building, outside. It's, you're in Houston in October. The weather was just perfect. It was. So some of those new things, and Orlando's even going to be as good or better next year. I want to think my meeting is going to be the best, but they can build on my great meeting, and they can even have a better one next year. So you need to make plans for that for next October to go to Orlando. I think Universal's kind of got us a deal where we can have the whole park to ourselves one evening, and so there's a lot of neat things I've kind of heard of the preliminary on that. So mark it down, be sure and come.
You guys have a lot of great speakers here.
Yeah, we really do.
You have the best. Oh, thank you. Yeah, it's such an honor to be here. I mean, one of 12 who were chosen across the nation. So it's just, to be here and stand on the shoulders of giants, and that
we had a lot of fun designing this. We really did, and if a guest doesn't show up, it didn't take long to go around and find someone to plug in. They were real excited to do it, and they want to be part of the energy that the podcasters have brought. And y'all have been great. You really have.
Well, thank you. Look at all this great planning. You guys, you'll see me on main stage in another episode, but they just pulled out all the stops on how you all have truly designed this. And the seating area is very comfortable. People can just walk up and sit and listen to what it is you're talking about. A variety of different topics from all over the United States, things that are relevant to students, things that are relevant to existing new dentists as well. So,
tried to gear this a lot to attract a lot of the younger dentists to come in and trying to, what do they want? What can we do to make their experience at a SmileCon / ADA meeting good? And so, because we want them to come back, they're a part of our association, but they're going to be the association when dinosaurs like myself tend to really go out to extinction a little bit. But I got here on the shoulders of dinosaurs, so it's good that we can kind of pass that baton down. But we want to make sure that it's the right way, and we put things together that's going to forge that journey for them in dentistry in the positive way.
Yeah. So you guys are talking about possibly shutting down the park for a night, maybe for next year.
Yeah,
that's
Universal,
crazy.
I think the deposit's already made, and we've been to Orlando. That was one of our main stops, even when we were at annual meeting. And we've done the Disney thing, and the Disney would do that. And this time around, it was Universal. So, and they've been great, and the convention center there is fabulous, and it's just, Orlando's just a magical place. Not to catch on their pun a little bit, but it'll be we'll have still great speakers. We've got this year. We also had a Spanish track. We had Spanish speaking lecturers, and their audience was all Hispanic. And we're going to incorporate that into a podcast that's going to join you guys next year. And then they can broadcast to that audience. And this was a great way to kind of start that in Houston, because they have a big Hispanic population here. So we're trying to play and be part of the DEI experience. It's just all over the country. It's just not in that. And we need to be part of that. And we need to be up in front on how that integrates into dentistry. And so it's always behind the scenes talking about things like that. So your ADA is really out there in front. It really is.
What do you think is one of the greatest opportunities that ADA has within the next 5 years?
Opportunities. I like your positive words there. There's a lot. You can't experience the opportunities out there unless you come to a meeting or unless you get involved. And to be honest with you, it's grassroots. Get involved in your local society, and then get involved in your district society. Then get involved in state. And then, if you catch a fever, get in a slot that meets your DNA, how you like to serve, and in what capacity. It may be in continuing education, it may be in governance, and ADA has all of those avenues that they can offer that will fit your needs, and you're willing to serve and help. And but you just can't go, I want to be a national delegate. Come on, you need to have to learn how to get there and earn how to get there. But it's not a undaunting task. You get involved on what's in your wheelhouse. And once you find that niche, and then that's where you can grow. And I promise you, as I did when I was a young dentist, a new dentist, it helped pave my way and to do a lot of fun things like this. I have, so many friends and associations that's lifelong.
I mean, these are lifelong friendships and connections. I'm a member of the ADHA, and I don't know where I would be professionally without my association.
And it's just like in your hometown. In my hometown, I started a community dental clinic because we did surveys that said there was not affordable dental care. So, well, we need to get us a clinic where they can go there. And we were nominated and received George Bush's 699th point of light. So he had 1,000 points of light, and we were number 699. Just an effort that we put together in our hometown. We couldn't find hygienists. Sorry, we couldn't find hygienists in our hometown. So we started a hygiene school at the local community college, and it's been going 22 years. And so it's just, things like that is how you get involved, and you get the fever of giving and serving. And, it's not about, oh, can I do this because I'm going to reap this benefit? You're going to reap way more than what you give.
You always get that through service.
Yes, that's it.
Yep. And I was listening to you talk about how you've dedicated your entire career to, you poured into the ADA, and you have, sometimes you're not, and when you do that, you guys, because you get so involved in it, sometimes you have an unpopular opinion that other people don't want to hear. So how do you overcome those challenges? Because this show's a lot about leadership, and we're going to transition into your practice transition.
I got you.
But before, we're going to talk about, how do you come up against, when your opinion isn't that popular, how do you navigate that?
Well, you have to be diplomatic, and you have to try and see. I've always said, how does it look from 10,000 feet down? Because your opinion may not be the opinion of those that are maybe a step above you in the pecking order of service. They may be in a leadership position, and they have to answer to a lot more people than what you do. But unless you plant the seed or find the way, for instance, I have a daughter that's an OBGYN. She's a physician, and she was having trouble with what was going on in her department. And I said, well, Lise, you don't want to go to the CEO of the hospital and say, I'm having this problem, this problem. He says, go there and say, we are having concerns, but here are some solutions I have. And then he said, well, that's out, but that has to go to our parent company. She goes, who can I call there?
Oh, wow. Okay, yeah.
I said,
yeah, that's how you do it.
Yeah, that's how you do it.
And so what I'm hearing you say too is not just say, I'm seeing this concern, and feeling like you're just dropping it in someone's lap, but coming with that solution.
Come with some solutions and recognize the problem, see both sides of the situation. And, you have can controls and can't controls. There are things that I can't control that. I can control how I react to them.
Yeah.
I can control how I respond to those things. It's never a bad idea to ask a question, but the answer before you ask that question, and see what you get in response. And so, and that you put people at ease. They realize that you care. You realize that it's all for the common good and the right reason. There's no such thing as a stupid question. There may be some answers you may not like, but that's how we learn, and that's how we grow, and that's how we build. So it's the same way with our practices. Patients, I want this and that. And in your heart, this is not going to work. Well, you just don't say that.
Right.
You come up with a solution. All right, well, this is what I hear you saying that you need. Here's some ways we can accomplish that. And here's pros and cons on all of those. And then make the decision together. I said, we may have to go see a specialist, but that's a fact-finding mission. That doesn't mean if it doesn't work out with them, you don't have to do it just because I send you there for a consult.
Yeah.
But bring it back and we'll talk over what they said. And that builds trust. And when you have trust, you don't have discontent. And then you have families that you can treat for 36 years.
Yeah.
It's not a one-time toothache. They trust you. They know that you're not trying to sell them something. And I've never sold anything in my life, but it's that trust that you build. And it's not any different in organized dentistry. It's not in everyday life, to build those relationships and that trust. And that's how things get accomplished.
Yeah. through relationships. So, turning the corner here, you just sold your practice.
Yeah.
Did you learn a lot through that? Tell us about it.
New chapter. Well, what you learn is what you don't know. And I thought, well, I know my practice, and I know, can have it evaluated, but I found a young man that was in another situation that didn't work out well with him, and he wanted to be my associate 4 years ago, and I'm saying, I didn't want to hold anyone's hand. I didn't think my practice was ready. Well, it got ready real quick after COVID. I needed some help, and he was disenchanted, and but then when you say, okay, how can we make this work positive? And I told him, I said, my goal now is to make sure you're successful. But you didn't realize, okay, now when a patient comes in, they have to sign all new consent forms. They have to sign all new HIPAA forms. They have to sign all new financial forms. You have to get your tax base all situated as far as paying federal withholding tax and state tax. That means you got to get an EIN number, and insurance is based on your address. Well, if you move next door, guess what? It takes 3 or 4, 5, 6 weeks to have the insurance companies change all of those addresses over.
Wow.
And I told him, I said, look, every patient that I treat knows another dentist. I'm not the only dentist they know. And if they think, oh, Skinner's retiring, he's gone, well, let's try Dr. Smith down the road. Well, that doesn't help you out that just bought my practice. So I don't think we need to go out there and say, oh, Skinner sold his practice, he's retiring. We need to say, you're joining my practice. And I said, that way, when my patients call, they say, well, yes, Dr. Skinner's here. They can see you, but it might be, no, here's his next available appointment, which is going to be, from 1 day a week I'm going to work when I'm after I sold my practice versus 4 days a week. So my next opening is going to be way down the road, but Dr. Brogan can see you next week.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And so that way it kind of blends that. We sent letters out, and that's how we worded it. I said, now you've got to close the deal, and I can introduce you,
Right.
and I can make that as seamless as possible. But and he's been real good with all of that, everything we've said. But it's crazy because when we huddle, he'll say, oh, I didn't think about that. And then we started thinking, what if I just walked out the back door and says, there's your practice, deal with all these problems. And it's been about a 3 or 4 or 5 month. Every day we say, oh, we need to do this. Oh, we need to do that, And so it's been a learning situation for me too. But I think it's going to be a great scenario for him. I really do. But there's a lot of things I didn't think about that really came apparent just in dotting the I's and crossing the T's and making sure that transition is as seamless as can be. So that's been a kind of an interesting journey.
Yeah. How did your team accept this, and how are they feeling about it?
The team, I kind of had a funny situation about 2 years ago. I had 4 of my 8 employees retire. And I'm thinking, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? They've been with me 25, 27, 29, 30 years. And so when they left, I had to rehire. And I say this, if you're not from the South, you probably won't understand this, but I just reloaded, kind of like Alabama. They win the championship every year. They just reload every year. They don't get new. They just reload. The young ladies that I hired back are just phenomenal. They took to a different level. They helped my ordering better. They were good at chairside. They were experienced. So I just felt like I just reloaded. What I lost, though, is institutional knowledge. And that's so big because, as you could tell, I like to visit. And my scheduling secretary, who's with me forever, knew that if this patient needed a little extra time because they were hard to numb up, well, we'll give Dr. Skinner extra 10 minutes because this patient's hard to numb up. Or Dr. Skinner knew this guy from high school, so they're going to be back there and talk. So we're going to give them an extra book. So when they left and the new ones came in, they didn't have that.
Yeah.
And so now I had to adjust, and we had to have a come to Jesus talk. I said, look, I can't do my best work if I got every room full and 3 people waiting and hygiene saying, where's Dr. Skinner to check my patient? Because I lay in bed thinking, I could have polished that just a little bit better on that patient. But I said I had to get out because I don't want anyone waiting on me. I mean, if you got a 2 o'clock, I'm there, and we see 30, 32, 3 patients a day. 2 full-time hygienists, and I check every hygiene patient. So I was getting out of my comfort zone of what I was used to for 36 years when I had that turnover. But they're all adapt. Eventually they can. Eventually they'll know, oh yeah, this is the one that we have to give him an extra 10 minutes on because they don't numb up easy. Or yeah, that's one of Dr. Skinner's old friends there, and they're going to talk about stuff. So that was kind of opening 2 years ago when that happened. So it's all cool. It's good. I got 4.5 grandkids, so I'm going to spend some extra time, all under 3.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's crazy.
That's good.
I'm looking forward to it though.
So what would you tell a dentist who is what like top 3 pieces of advice would you give a dentist who's thinking about selling their practice?
That's a good question because I've never had an associate. I've always been a solo. Uh, what I did tell my patients, let's go there first. I said, look, I'm not going to sell to a big conglomerate. I'm not going to lock my door and auction off my equipment, and I'm not going to bring someone in that I wouldn't go to myself. So that kind of made the patients say, "Oh, okay," and that kind of breezed that way for my patients. But to tell a new guy, do your homework, get your practice evaluated properly, make sure they know what they're doing, because not every one of those things that evaluate practices know what they're doing. They may sell you like they know what they're doing, but they don't. Uh, don't sell someone junk. Upgrade your equipment. Talk to your accountant and make sure. Well, if you've got a 7-year depreciation, think about your retirement 7 years out, buy new equipment and depreciate it out, and you benefit from that. So those are just kind of inherent little things. Find the right person. Find a person like you that's laid back, that's chair side kind of like you. One thing, my new associate, he's seeing all my patients while I'm down here at SmileCon, and before I left, he said, "Man, I think I sold 3 crowns this morning." And I said, "Did they need 3 crowns?" I said, "You got to think about this." I said, "They might have had Dr. Skinner saying has looked at those 3 teeth for how many hygiene visits." I said, "Yeah, one day we may have to do that." But I knew one day I'm going to be able to do those crowns. Your first visit, you come in there and say, "Oh, guess what? You need to have 3 crowns like right now."
Yeah.
I said, "You didn't build a lot of trust," because in their mind saying, Skinner's looked at those same 3 teeth and he didn't say anything about crowns. I said, "You'll eventually get to do them. This is a marathon, not a sprint." I said, "You want to say 36 years down the road, you're still seeing those same patients."
Yeah.
And I said, there's ways to develop your own style. You don't have to do one thing that I tell you, but this is how it's worked for me. And don't do a lot of changes first day in. There was a practice that sold in Fort Smith, and they consummated the deal on a Friday. Monday he came in and fired everybody. He wanted his own people. So now his patients come in, it's a new dentist and it's a new staff, and they don't know them and they don't recognize them, and he's made changes. And I said, what a horrible business move right out of the chute. My new guy said, I'm not going to change a thing for 6 or 8 months.
Yeah.
I'm going to leave everything just like it is. And he says, and we'll tweak through things that kind of fit me differently than it did Dr. Skinner. So, yeah, so you hear all of those stories, and so you learn from that. And, as far as top 3, that was tough because I could talk forever on things I've learned on that. But, dentists are smart guys. They really are. And, that's why you come to these meetings, because you meet other smart guys. Hey, you sold your practice. Tell me about that.
Yeah.
If you don't go to a meeting, if you sit at home and do this,
It's only a part of it. But it's about networking. It's about your network is your net worth.
Relationships. Yeah. It's about relationships. I come to these, I've heard all the speakers, but I say, oh, there's Dr. Smith from Arizona. Hey, what impression material are you using now? Have you bought a new scanner yet? What are you using? Does that work for you? That's how I learn. I promised my patients I wouldn't use them as guinea pigs. I'm going to research it, make sure that fits, and get information, not from someone trying to sell you something, because whoever's trying to sell you something, that's the best thing on the market.
Well, it's just like when you go to, you like something somebody has. Oh, I love your glasses. Where did you get this? You're always looking for that recommendation from that person like, and trust, right? And so that's the power of networking.
That's why I urge all ages, all generations to come to these meetings. And we hear mentor. I heard mentor when I was a young dentist. I said, yeah, you can look at mentors, but there's all sorts of mentoring. Like we talked about Dr. Worth, F. Harold, and I said, I didn't consider him a mentor at that time, but when I look back on him, he was a big mentor.
Yeah.
He didn't even know it.
Yeah, it's about paying it forward with your knowledge, not being stingy with your knowledge too. And I mean, what you're doing also for your associate, you're there mentoring him in what it is you're doing, and then it also creates trust with your existing team that they know that they're handed off in a way that they expect, that they would know that it's kind of what you might do in the same situation. So that's got to make them feel more comfortable.
Well, I hope so. And that's just me. You don't want to have in a leadership position and act like a leader. You want to be a leader. Anyone can act a part, but be the leader, be the one, and do your homework. Don't get into it easy, make the calls, visit with the people that have been there. Doesn't mean that's your style and you have to do it, but that plants a seed and gets you thinking on the best way that works for you. Use your words, use your way of explaining things. Be diplomatic about how you do that. Don't throw anyone under the bus, so to speak. And that's how things really work, not only in dentistry, in all parts of life.
In every part of life. I just so appreciate you being here.
Sorry, I've rambled a lot.
No, this is amazing. How do people get in touch with you if they have questions for you? They want to choose you as a mentor. They want to get involved in ADA. What would you say?
Watch out what you wish for is what I was saying right there. I said, you might want to contact who you're following here on this podcast, because she's pretty sharp cookie too. And she could always get a hold of me as well. But no, we talked about this at lunch. So I never discourage someone that come up to you in the mall and pull their cheek back and says, Doc, what do you think about that? Yeah, show me. I mean,
get those molar
you always get those things, but don't shy away from those, and be diplomatic on how you address that problem. You don't have an x-ray, you don't know about them or whatever, but the better we can educate our patients, the better patients they'll be. So don't shy away from that phone call or that running up someone in the mall is pulling their cheek back or something like that. You want to educate and make them more aware of what's going on in our business at the oral cavity. I mean, how many times have people come up to you and not only wanted your advice, but how do I floss those teeth back there or whatever? I mean, it seems trivial to us that are in this, but no, it's big to a lot of people. And so you want to squash that fear of, how many times we heard, I had a bad experience when I was a kid. Yeah. Just don't allow them. Just don't allow them. And put yourself in a situation that puts people at ease, and build that relationship before you even look in their mouth. Yeah, and that's the way it's worked for me. It may not work for everybody, but I think that's pretty common sense stuff, that you can find your own way to make that aspect of treating your patients work.
Absolutely. So thank you so much again.
Oh, thanks for flagging me down.
Oh, yes.
I saw you as a guest on other podcasts, and you just blew me away. About 10 minutes, I said that. So, my gosh, this girl's pretty slick, And then she flagged me down and says, oh, well, you come do this.
Well, I mean, he's like the head guy here too. So I wanted him to talk about the event. And I mean, thank you for supporting podcasting and podcasters. And
a great thing for SmileCon. Yeah, when you come next year to Orlando, come by the podcast, but it's kind of like game day on Saturday. It really is. And we try to design the set like that. And it's a comfortable place. There's a place for you to sit and listen and follow the person that you're following on podcast. You may have 3 or 4 of them. And hopefully if they're the top ones, that's who we're going to have here, Well,
thank you for the opportunity though, too.
You're so welcome. We're glad to have you. We're honored to have you.
Thank you. Well, all of our listeners, thank you so much for listening in. You know what I'm going to ask the favor. Give us a 5-star rating on Apple. That's who matters. And like us on Facebook, Next Level DH, and then also share our podcast, the Dental Handoff, with your friends if you've liked what you've heard here. Take care. Thanks for all that you're doing to care for your patients. We'll see you soon.